Hello, good morning. I don't know if you can all hear me. I hope the connection is going to work today. So hopefully everybody has seen the video that I posted on my website. It's also on YouTube, so you can get it there, but it's easier if you just go straight to my website and things and have a look there. I've started a little bit early because of all the technical stuff and all that sort of thing. So hopefully, it's not too technical, but hopefully the stream will continue going and everything while we're broadcasting. I hope it's actually working right now. I don't know if it is or not, but let me know if it's working. So basically, if you've watched the video, you'll know what's going on. We're going to be drawing a view through a window in your house, so hopefully you're all set up with that. As we progress through the lesson over the next 2 hours, just let me know how things are going. If you've got any questions, just try to post a picture of your drawing into the stream, and then I can have a look at it. Or if you're unsure about doing that and you prefer to email it, you can email it to me as well. I'll try and keep up with everything that's going on whilst doing my work. My computer is just over there, so I'm over here doing my work, so it's a bit tricky getting about and everything, but hopefully it'll be alright. So the best way to start your drawing is to draw the window frame itself first, because you're going to use the window frame as your kind of viewfinder. So you'll be looking through the window frame into the garden or into the yard or wherever it is, or into the street or across the fields or wherever you are. So use the window frame as your viewfinder. So everything within there you can use to measure the correct shapes of things that you're looking at. Hopefully to start to construct the picture. I've already done mine, so and you can see how I got on with that on the video. So if you're starting your drawing off and if you have a look at the video, you can see how things are going. But if you just arrived, I'm actually drawing over the top of my picture today. I'm going to use a biro over the top because I love biros. And I'm going to use watercolour on top of that as well to sort of add a bit of colour to my drawing. So if you want to try that, then go for it. Try a bit of watercolour over it if you get that far indeed. Alright, so I'm going to put the camera, or my phone, I'm using my phone, so hopefully it'll be alright. I'm going to put my phone just over the top of where I'm working so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so here goes. I'll just put that on. So there you go, that's my fox. So in a couple of minutes, when I'm sure everything's working properly, I shall remove the fox and I'll be working on the picture that I've been doing of the view through my window. So the view is a view of my garden at home. If you can hear background barking and things, that's just my dog. Okay, so let me know if you're here, please, because it feels a bit lonely. It feels a bit weird, but obviously I can see there's 13 of you online at the moment. So what we're aiming for is something like this. So to create a drawing of a view through your window. Okay, so let me know if you're here, please, because it feels a bit lonely. Right, I just turned the volume down on my computer on the other side of the room. It is a little bit on the old loud side, and you can hear me again after the video has been sort of broadcast out. So yeah, so what you need to do is set yourself up something to lean on, and preferably what I did is I drew this view from the comfort of my lovely leather armchair in my living room, and I had a nice board to lean on, and then I made sure that I had a good few pencils with me that were sharp, so that I could keep going, because if you're using pencils today, then I've got these nice 2B pencils just here, which will go down quite quickly as you're drawing. So I had 2 or 3 of these sharp. Otherwise, of course, it's just as easy to get one of these, a pencil sharpener, and what I like to use is one of these, a scalpel blade, to sort of sharpen my picture. Pencil. Okay, so the thing to do when you're drawing your view through a window is, I'll just do it on the back here, is you need to look at the window frame and sketch that in first of all. What I'll do in just a few minutes is I'll get a photo of my view through a window. You've probably seen it anyway, but what you need to do is work out the size and shape of your window frame first of all. So I'm just doing a sort of an approximation of the one I've got on the other side. So once you've got this set up, the structure of your drawing, you know that you're going to be fitting what's out there into these shapes, basically. So like when we've done drawings in the past, we've used grids, haven't we, to draw things accurately. So we've basically put squares over a photograph in order to break down the image a little bit. Here we are using something far more simpler, which is just literally the window frame. Now when I was drawing the picture, I noticed by measuring it that halfway down the window frame were the handles. So look for features like that to get you started, because those kinds of features are going to help you work out where things actually fit in the background of your picture or inside the window frame itself. So, and it only has to be quite loose at this stage, because you can tighten it all up as you go along. Okay, and then what I did was I literally, from that point, I started working into the background. So if we have a little look on the other side again, so the first thing that I drew, and you probably saw this if you watched the video, is I drew this tree, because that does break down this window quite a lot, this what I could see in this window quite a lot. And from that point I felt quite confident then about where I could put other features, such as the house, the shape of the house in the background, and I knew that in between the tree and the edge of the frame would be this little trellis over here as well. And then I also worked out that just below the handle, the door handle there, I could see where these little garden, well they're quite big actually, garden mirrors are in the back here. So I was able to sketch those in, leaving enough space down below. So it is a case of measuring all of the different shapes that you can see within these window frames. from the beginning. Okay, and then there were these window ledges from the windows at the side here. I worked out from this point yet again how high the window ledges come against the door handles. So you can see that just across here like that. So I looked down, I looked across, and I could see from looking at the subject whereabouts the height of the window ledges is. Alright, so once you've got these details mapped out, you can start to then use the shape of the window frame to fill out the details there. Alright, a few other tips then are things like looking at this tree. Now the tree, I wanted the background, the sky, to be light so that it stood out, but I also wanted the tree to stand out against the dark here. So one of the things you can do, so one device you can use if you're looking at something like this, is you can go from light and then switch to a darker shadow in the background there as well. Okay, but if anyone's got any questions about stuff, just let me know, send me a message and I'll have a look. Okay, the other thing that I'd like to mention as well is you'll notice that the whole of the window frame, I've decided this quite early on because I'm indoors, so obviously it's a little bit darker indoors. What I did is I shaded using cross hatching, not too heavily, depends on your room, not too heavily, but just to make a very even tone all the way around the outside of the window frame, contrasting with the inside, which is both really dark and really light. That helps the window frame to just kind of stand out against the background. Alright, so we've got a couple of hours now to do these drawings. I'm going to carry on working on this drawing because I did it already, and just to show you maybe what you can do with it next, what I've done is I've decided that because they're transparent, it would be really nice to work with some watercolours today. Very thin layers of colour over the top of the picture, and then I'm going to make these marks stand out a little bit more by using perhaps a biro pen or maybe some ink pens a little bit later. Alright, but sometimes I won't be here because I'll be answering your questions. If you hear Scout barking, that's my dog, then she's probably just seen a cat or a squirrel or something else. The other day she caught a mouse, which is great. Alright, so please let me know that you can see everything. If you can't, or if there's a problem, let me know because I'll try and adjust the camera and things. But yay, let's go for it. And don't forget to post what you're doing because I'd love to see it, as we all can't see each other at the moment. Okay, off you go. And don't forget to post what you're doing because I'd love to see it, as we all can't see each other at the moment. Okay, off you go. Right, I am going to work on this with a bit of biro. First of all, the biro works. I may decide to refine the drawing a little bit this time. I sketched it out quite loosely before. So I'm just using cross-hatching, which is one of my favourite things. I enjoy cross-hatching with a pen. And I like pen as well because it doesn't run when you work back over it, so it's quite a useful material, and you can get some beautifully fine lines and things with it as well. Oh, I don't think, I think there's a, you can't really, I don't think you can post pictures whilst in a live stream. I think I've already tried it once before, so it might be better for people if you've got a picture and you want to share it, that you share it in a different way. I haven't thought of what to do about that yet, but see if there's anyone out there thinking about posting stuff. See if you can post it within the group and not in the chat. I don't know if that's possible. If anyone can have a look at that, that would be wonderful. While I'm sketching away here, it's a little bit new to me as well, this, so I've not done this before, so always thought of doing it but never got round to it, being too busy. But while I'm not at school, of course, and it's my day off, then I've got a little bit more time to try these things, which is nice. Yay! I've been getting a bit stir crazy. I don't know about anybody else. Felt like I really wanted to go out last night, only because I couldn't. So there you go, a bit of cross hatching. Try a little bit of a ruler on that as well. It's quite nice. I think what I can also do is I can save this video for anyone who has missed it as well, and I'll try and post that on my website later. I'm not sure it'll make riveting watching, but it's quite nice. It's going on quite nicely now. I've got the pen working. So the idea of using a pen is I can get finer marks. As I said earlier, the pencils, they run down really quickly, so you end up with fluffier, sort of grainier marks. But with a pen, you have consistency with your marks, but the nice thing is you can vary the marks as well. You can go heavier and darker where you need to, by hatching over the top a little bit heavier, or just running your pen back over the area. So if you go to the website as well, I've also created a Pinterest board of work where artists have used a view through a window as their inspiration as well, and there's quite a few. When you start looking on Pinterest, there is absolutely endless amounts. I didn't know there were so many, but yeah, it's quite nice to have a look at some of those, and we may work from some of those in the next few lessons if everybody wants to carry on doing this. I'm quite happy to do it. I'm quite enjoying myself actually. It's quite exciting doing an online lesson for the first time. Even though I've been doing them all week at school, we've had to do online lessons. It's just knowing if the children are actually there is a little bit of a problem, because there's no formal register. I just ask the children to say, "I'm here." And yeah, I've had quite a few in most lessons, but some of them they've been a bit absent. But what can you do? These are weird times we're living through at the moment. So I'll see if I can zoom in a bit so you can see what I'm doing a bit closer. There you go, how's that? Yeah, Lynette, it's just an ordinary biro pen. I got a big box of them because it's a lot cheaper, especially with teaching. I got a big box of Bic pens. I think there's 50 in here, so I've got quite a few of those. And the pencils that I've used previously are these Staedtler. I don't know if that's how you say it. Staedtler pencils. They're all 2Bs, but they're 2B pencils, a good all-round sort of drawing pencil. The box has actually got on here school pencil, but you know, I think they're great. I bought these online quite a while ago now. Oh, there goes the dog. Chloe, yes, I will. Yes, hopefully in the group you can post your work as well, so that people can see. It'd be really nice. It'd be so lovely to see what everyone's doing, because it's just recognition that we're all enjoying ourselves and taking part. Yeah. No, it's a different game, isn't it? Working from real life, actually, is something that as artists we need to do a lot more of. Really, it's great practice actually looking at the real world in front of you, because you're seeing things in 3 dimensions when we're often working from flat images or photographs and so forth. It just reduces the amount of information you can see, really, in many ways, or the aesthetic of it, the experience of sitting and looking at things. So yeah, it is a bit of a challenge, and yes, it is quite difficult getting the scale right at first, which is why drawing through a viewfinder like a window frame is perfect, because it helps you to instantly break down what you're actually looking at as well. And indeed, when you're drawing things in real life, you can use things like trees and fences to help you measure what you're going to do. In fact, some artists in the past, with being overwhelmed by the amount of information they have in front of them, have chosen to use a piece of card or something, or a viewfinder, and actually hold the viewfinder up in front of them or set it in front of them so that they don't get distracted by everything else that's going on around them, or they don't get overwhelmed by the amount of information that's there. So this exercise is pretty good for doing that. Did you manage to get on all right, Julie? Right, I'm going to carry on using my famous biro, Tracy. Yay, famous biro. And ruler. Just sharpen up the edges with this ruler. Quite a nice idea. So if you build up the lines on top of each other as much as possible, you can, when you're using a biro, you can add quite a lot of shadow. So I've just put some shadow under my door handles, just there, and it's sort of brought them out a little bit. But what you don't want to do is overdo it, because in the background you want things to be contrasting. So you want this area, for example, to be darker than the door frame, which is why I opted for a mid-tone with the cross-hatching on the door frame, so that it could all stand out well tonally. So I'm doing a little bit of stippling. So I use stippling or scribbles for plants and bushes and things like that, rather than draw in every single leaf. It just looks a bit more spontaneous and natural, I suppose. I'm going to add a bit more colour into this in just a second. Come back out again. Hi Julie, you might find that either the volume is turned down either on your device or on the app itself. I don't know. There might be a volume control on the Facebook Live part of it. So have a look at that and see if you can work it out. Thanks for that, Chloe. I'll have a look and see if I can add her in. Hello, those people who've just joined us. Sorry if you didn't manage to join us straight away. I didn't notice that there were still a few pending requests to join. So if there's any, if any of you know that there's someone waiting to join, then please let me know, and I'll go on there and I'll keep an eye on it actually, and just make sure people can join. So there were 3 on there, and so I've just added you into the group as well. So welcome, and as you can see, we're drawing a view through a window at the moment. If you go to my website, you'll see on there that there's a video and things that you can watch. In fact, you might be able to see a link to that video just on the stream, the chat area of the. I'll put it on again in a second, and then you can watch the video of what we've been doing, and you'll know how to get stuck in basically. But you'll need a pencil, something to lean on, and some paper, and a nice view through one of the windows at your home, as we all can't go out. Yeah, so have a look. Have a look at the video if you got it. It's about 15 minutes long, and I do quite a bit of a preamble on there, so you may want to just forward through some of that, because I got a bit carried away there, I thought, or my wife thought that anyway. So have a look, and let me know in the chat down the side there if there's any questions or anything you want to ask. I've done my drawing, but I'm working back over it at the moment with a biro pen, and I'm about to add a bit of colour onto it as well, using watercolours just here. That's a good question, Lynette. I just saw your question there about how far away you should sit from your window. Obviously, it depends on your home and where you are, but I would suggest, well, when I was doing this, I was about 1.5 to 2 meters away from the window, so that I could see, a good view and everything. So that's about the right distance for this window. You might find it more convenient to sit a little bit closer or at a slight angle. I did actually spend a little bit of time thinking about where I wanted to sit, because I wanted to see the right details that I wanted to draw. But in the end, I just sort of thought, I'm going to sit down on the armchair because it was really comfortable while I was making the films and things as well. Okay. Yeah, so about that far away is perfect, and make sure you've got all your equipment when you sit down, else you're going to have to get up again. And in a nice comfy armchair, that's a little bit difficult, but make sure you got a nice drink and some tea and things as well, or some biscuits. as I was saying earlier, you want a nice bit of contrast between the frame on the outside and the details on the inside. So the details on the inside of the window frame, that is, are much more sort of black and white, if you like. I haven't put too many mid-tones in. There's more mark making to make the thing show up. But on the frame itself, I've done cross-hatching to sort of actually frame the inside of it, so that you've got a frame inside of the building and the background or the outside of the building to make things stand out. Oh dear, have we lost you, Pat? I seem to be online streaming alright on my phone. Don't forget, you can post questions and things, or ask questions about what I'm doing whilst we work. I'm happy to answer any questions. So I'm just going a little bit darker underneath around these mirrors now. One thing you can do, which with pencils, because a lot of you be using pencils, is actually put down a piece of paper. You'll notice it on the video that I did. I put some paper under my hand, and that was to stop the smudging on the paper, on the actual drawing, sorry. So if you put your then move it around, it actually you can use it to help you focus on particular areas as well. So I've just moved over this way a little bit, and I've got an Acer Brilliantissime, I think it's called, or something like that, over here. And in the spring, it's not quite happened yet, but in the spring, when the leaves come out, they have a lovely pink sort of colour on them, which is gorgeous. It really feels like spring, and everything's coming to life when they come out, along with all the old daffodils and all that, you know. So it just adds a little bit more punch, just going over it with biro. It makes things stand out just a little bit more. Gives it that more contrast and things. You can still put all the marks in that I've been doing, like these little stipply bits over here. You can still put all of those things in with a biro, And what I mentioned earlier as well is that you'll notice here how the branches of the tree are white and then they go black. There's a few reasons for that, you know, but I wanted this area to have the tree standing out and this area to be more of a silhouette rather than just an outline. So you can see just here where the tree trunk comes up and then it just changes black. I mean, you know, to a degree you're going to get that kind of silhouetting when you're looking at things. You know, you're going to get, if there's light behind it, you're going to get this kind of silhouetting in the image as well. But as you're looking further down, you might be able to see a bit more detail. Certainly that would be the case if you were perhaps using a camera or something like that to take your picture. So I'm just going to, I could add some more marks to this as well. So remember that, you know, if you're using nice loose marks and things, you can make your image feel more natural, particularly if you're drawing things like trees and things like that too. So I may choose next to add in some colour to the frame. Try a little bit. I'm thinking purple at the moment with a bit of watercolour. Purpley sort of blue, something like that. Doing this, you get nice and close to it when you've drawn the picture. You can really enjoy hatching into it and things like that. I didn't, when I did the window frame here, I didn't use a ruler or anything like that, but when it comes to refining the picture perhaps a bit later on, it's nice just to sort of put these lines in a bit more clearly and things as well. Hi Kathy. Yeah, the perspective, you find the perspective a bit challenging as well. Do you mean the window frame itself, or do you mean what's actually in the background, you know, through the window? Do you have a long garden that you can see all the way down with perspective lines and things in? Because if you do, the thing to look for is if you're looking at a lawn or something like that, or a pathway that's going down the bottom of the garden, what you need to look for first of all is where all those lines of perspective are actually leading to. So I don't know, so if this drawing here I had a pathway and a lawn, what I might do is I might have these kinds of lines which all lead to somewhere over there, like a line of perspective like this, and then at some point of course the back of the garden will appear, so you would have a line straight across and then up like that, I don't know. Okay, so you might also have another line leading to that vanishing point just there, and then after that going to make the, if it was a pathway, make the lines get further apart as they come closer to you. Okay, but it's a little bit difficult to tell without actually seeing what you're drawing, but perhaps if you could send a picture at some point, I can have a look and give you a bit more help with that. But yeah, best thing to do is remember that a lot of the lines that you'll see in front of you will go to a vanishing point or a few vanishing points within the picture, and as long as they line up, So if you look at the top of, say, a fence, so imagine this is a fence just here. The top corner of the fence will come out like this through the vanishing point there, VP, and then up through the top. So you get your lines of perspective. So it's a bit like drawing a room. I don't know if that makes any sense, but perhaps we can look at perspective as well, because a couple of people have mentioned they're finding that a little bit difficult. You've got a wide view looking through two large panes. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so you seem to have stretched it. Do you mean the actual pane or the view? My dog seems to have tried to join me as well now, but I've chucked her out the garage now. I'll put a bit more colour on now. Just add a little bit of this pinky colour. Water it down. See what that does. Yep. So I'm just kind of adding a little bit of shadow to the window frame around here. Don't want to overdo it, don't want to make it too dark, otherwise it will just dominate really. So this is like adding a tone over the top with a little bit of colour. We'll see this colour isn't particularly strong, but it does add some nice shadow to the picture. So you might find with some of your pencils, if you use watercolour over the top, that the graphite mixes a little bit with the paint. And if I had plenty of water on there, I can make it blend out on the edges a little bit too. So Kathy, the best thing to do with the view is to make sure you obviously stay exactly where you are, but also you've got to look at the shapes in the background in relation to what you can see in the window frame itself as well, if that makes sense. So you've got to keep checking which shapes are where at what point within the frame. Okay, so if you can see they're a little bit out, then obviously you need to make those adjustments there. So for example, like the trellis here, yeah, from where I was sitting, I could see that the trellis was just above the top of the door handle from where I was sitting from that angle. So I knew to make sure that it went there. But if I was at a slightly different angle, it could, even if I just moved my head slightly, it could just slightly change, couldn't it? I think we were saying earlier with you know, it does present some different challenges drawing from life as opposed to drawing from a photo, because you've got a very fixed position when you're looking at a photograph, haven't you? Whereas when you're looking at the real thing, you need to be in the same position, you need to understand the whole space a little bit more, I would say, and the things around it. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear your wrist is still hurting, Pat. Glad you're here though. It's nice to see you here. I hope it's healing up though. Yeah, you must have broke it really well when you was doing the twist. Ah, okay, so you think you might have moved a bit, Kathy. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? It's really, really good practice. It's one of the reasons why I think life drawing, you know, drawing the figure, is a really good exercise, brilliant exercise. That really teaches you to look and draw that one. If it's at all possible one day, that would be something we could do. I was thinking of doing a day class in the summer. You know, just a 1 day long class where people can come and do art for the whole day. If that interests anybody, you have to let me know. But life drawing could be a part of it. Who knows? It'd be brilliant exercise. It's such good fun. Especially if you do timed exercises and drawings as well. So you limit the amount of time you've got, so you've really got to look really quickly before time runs out. I think some of you did the live online classes, didn't you? Where the not online classes, the TV show, where they were doing life drawing classes live on telly. I think a lot of you did that, as far as I remember, and showed me your drawings, which is great. It really does challenge you, doesn't it? So I think my phone is running out of space on it now. I mean, typical. All these hiccups. So hopefully, if it goes off again, I've got to, yeah, it looks like I might have to get rid of a bit of space on my phone so I can continue. Bear with me. Glad it's healing, Pat. Right, hopefully I've deleted a few files now. And I can continue working with you for the next half an hour. So I'm just going to carry on for a bit, adding some colour into the picture so that I can work back over it with my biro. So this is probably something that you could get on with if you wanted to carry on before the next lesson. So I'm deliberately making sure that I use any colours on here very lightly and loosely to stay in the spirit of a sketch really as well. Have we still got everybody? Twelve of us. There goes the dog. She loves pigeons, our dog. She loves to try and catch them anyway. So with a lot of marks you can also, I mean, even though this area of the fence is quite dark, even if you just put in a few lines and then shade back over the top of them, you're still going to see those kind of lines underneath. So here we've got the planks of wood along the edge of the fence. I didn't measure these out or anything, I just wanted the feel of the fence really, if you see what I mean. And then I've shaded back over the top of them to give it a bit of tone. Sorry about that, it's just a blooming dog. There we go, right. Scout! Will you pack it in? Pat, did you say you could hear Scout barking from where you are? Is that what you meant? Yeah, Leslie, you can certainly borrow Scout. She'd love to come and keep guard over things and catch a few squirrels if she can. She'd love that to bits. Sorry about that, disturbing the peace. Scout is a very excitable dog. I've just shut her indoors now. All this beautiful weather, eh? Quite nice when you're working with biro to get nice and close up to it actually, as it's nice to see the paper and the quality of it and things. Now I'm going to do this plant pot on here. So there's a little plant pot over here, and there's a nice shadow cast from the light outside, so I'm going to add that in. When you put a pot in, always where the pot meets the ground, it's quite good to do it a little bit darker so it stands out. There we go, the leaves all at different angles. Put a bit of colour in that in a second, maybe. Okay, there's my plant pot. I'll make it a bit curvier. Make it look a bit more 3D, I suppose. There's some cross-hatching beneath the window ledge. Oh, Murphy. Is that your dog? What sort of dog have you got, Jackie? Judith, your dogs were listening to Scout as well. Yeah. I think Scout would be scared of your dogs because they're Scout's only little, and she's scared of bigger dogs than she is. She's quite small. I'll perhaps put her on in a bit and you can see her. Just make the colour a bit stronger in the foreground of these plants, just to sort of pick them out a little bit more maybe. Some little splodges in and change the colour. That's my orchid. I think that orchid there has got darker leaves. I'm just going to darken those in a bit as well. So with perspective on here as well, this bit here, or this bit here, represents the side of the ledge where I've got my plant pots on. So you can actually do directional lines to suggest the direction of the side of the wall. Here you can do that. So here I've got lots of overlapping, a lot more overlapping lines anyway. And here I'm just going to use vertical and angled lines to draw out the shape of it, or the angle of the wall, I should say. Get back into that mirror. You can see that I hop around quite a lot when I'm drawing. I just get distracted all the time. So this is quite a nice area to work on, just down here. Because there's lots more sort of scribbly, sort of looser marks. So here I've been very kind of formal, I guess. And here I can start doing like looser marks to suggest the foliage a bit more. And these twigs that go up, they're part of a bush actually. You can do like more looser, sort of, jaggedy, sort of scribbly lines to suggest that as well. Which is something I love doing. I love doing all this sort of mark making. I'm adding more marks in, I'm not just going over what I've already done. But it is definitely tightening up the drawing a bit more, which is nice. And the little bit of light coming through there is from the garden outside, through the blind. I hope you can all still see okay. Go down this side a bit again. Just going to bring out the side of the window frame with some nice outline on the actual, because there was a little bit of black around the edge of that, around the edges of like a seal, around the edge of the whole of the window. Quite nice to bring that out too. And I'm just going to work down the fig. So this is our little fig tree that I mentioned in the video. No leaves yet. All on the way. Okay, just going to add a little bit more colour on now. So I've used a little bit of blues and purples here to add the shadow. Around the window frame. It's quite nice sometimes not to have a consistent colour around things, just to sort of make it a bit more interesting, I think. So I've got more of a stronger purple in places, or a more pinky colour. I am using a cartridge paper at the moment. I'm not using anything fancy as far as papers go. So with cartridge paper you've got to be careful that you don't over water the paper, or overwork it anyway, because it starts to come up otherwise. But you know, it still works alright. With watercolours you just keep building up the surface. You can layer the colours on top of each other to build up things like these, like watermarks and things, which are quite nice. So over here, look, I'm adding a bit more blue, and then I can add a bit more of a pinky colour. Oops, that was a bit too pink. Just wash that out and put a bit of blue back in. There we go. It's all good fun. That's it. Carry on working around here. And I think I might add a little bit of yellow ochre for the old pebbles. I've got some yellow ochre in my, so it's like that yellow ochre. It's this, you know it anyway, I think most of you, but there's that one there, sort of a yellowy browny colour. So with this, because it's pebbles, I'll just sort of dab it in a little bit. Might be a bit bright. We can tone it down a little bit with water though. And then maybe use a different brown mixed in with it. To give it a little bit of variety. Just a tint of colour over that area. That's it, I'm in the way of it now. That's better. Right. Get in this fig pot. Interesting thing is I've got my PC on in here as well, There's a little bit of a delay between what I'm doing here live and what comes up on the screen, so I can turn my head from this end of the room and watch what I've just been doing appearing in the live feed, which is quite a novel thing. Put some little stipply bits in there for all the pebbles, and on the front bit just along here, this is where the patio is. I'm going to add a little bit of colour in there as well in a second. Not on the brick bits, which is just down here, so I'm just going to get a little bit of, well, I'll say red, probably some sort of browny colour just along there. And if it's a bit warmer than the other colours, you're going to spot it and see where the different boundaries are between different objects. There's my tree trunk. A bit of cross hatching because there was a shadow down one side of the tree trunk. So I'm just going to put that in with some really faint little cross hatch marks. Some of the pen has faded since I put some water on it. That's alright though, just go back over it. Starting to get hungry now. There's another big pot. Me and Sophie did our we both got a big pot each, garden pot, and I saw it on Garden as well. We made a bulb lasagna, so we've got like a big pot with layers of different bulbs in, which is a lot of fun. And you know, we're just trying to see whose one is in the lead and whose display is the best and all that as well. So yeah, that's just here. There's another pot behind the bar there, the window frame, and just around there where I am now with my pen, that's where there's a little bit of brickwork. A little bit of brickwork where I've made the edges of the beds and things a bit tidier, because it was getting a bit untidy in the garden, so I did brick edges 10 years ago, 9 years ago. So the other nice thing about Biro is you can use it on the top of watercolour. Obviously it's not absolutely saturated, but you can use it on the top of watercolour when it's still wet. So that means I can continue working from one media to the other without too much worry about how it's going to affect what I've done. So you see now I've done a bit of cross hatching around there. Loving it. No, I really enjoyed doing this. This side here has got the garage in it. That's the garage, the side of the garage. So this is all brickwork here, so we're going to add a little bit of colour on there because it's a warmer colour, and like, you know, reds or warm colours like this are in contrast to a degree with the green of foliage and things, so it works quite nicely. I'm just going to put in some little dashes just to sort of vary the brickwork a bit. They're a little bit bright actually. I don't think the colours are coming out quite the same on the Just move that over a little bit. I don't think the colours are coming out quite the same on the stream as they are in front of me here, but well, what can you do? And my door there, I painted a lovely blue, which I don't know if I can quite get with the colours that I've got, but I'll give it a whirl. That'll do. A bit sky bluey. Need to make that a little bit different, really. Just going to add a touch of green because it's almost like a turquoisey colour in the door. A bit too green now, maybe. Bit of blue again. Don't want it to zing out too much, so I'll use my finger just to tamper it off. Right, so we have only got 5 minutes left of today. So very shortly I shall be signing off, and obviously in the comfort of your home you can carry on as long as you like. I will be online, of course, on my Facebook page or whatever, so if you want to ask anything and I'm around, I'll try to do my best to answer. It'd be lovely to for you all to, once this feed is off, once the live feed is off, if you could post what you've done, that would be wonderful. I would, like I said earlier, I'd really love to see what you've all been doing. If you want to, you don't have to, of course. Once you get going on something like this and you're comfortable, it's nice to carry on, isn't it? Thank you, Anne, for your photo of the view out of your window. You've got a lot of leaves in there, haven't you? So that'll be an interesting one to do. Just remember to get that window frame right first. Put in a few lines. So on here, I haven't done the brickwork straight, obviously, because it's going into distance, so I've just angled everything. Right. Okay. So I hope you've all enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed doing it. Let me know if if you want to keep going, really, because I'm happy to do another lesson next week and carry on. I had said that I would do that, but I'd just a bit of feedback would be good. I'll try and fix the streaming. Keep the video going a bit better next week if I can. It depends if I can get the kit. There is something I need for that, but yeah, I hope you've enjoyed working on your drawings and things. I'll come up with either a different exercise or one to develop these. This is something that I've been doing today with the biro and the watercolour that you could do with your drawing when you've done it as well. What's quite good is if you photograph your drawing so that you've got a record of how it looked before you worked into it a little bit. It'd be quite nice if I did the curtains as well, wouldn't it? I might carry on working on it for a while and you can see what else I've done to it. But yeah, let me know if you want to do another lesson. And you know, I don't mind if people want to invite other people to join us. It'd be fun, the more the merrier. So, you know, it's nice just to do some sketching, isn't it? I'll try and think of things that we can do, you know, from the confines of our home as well. Which, well, we work from a studio most weeks anyway, don't we? So yeah, post your view and, you know, the view you've been working from, or the work you've been working on, and post the photograph if you can, and a photograph of your drawing as well. It'd be lovely to see it, wouldn't it? So I'm just going a bit mad now with the old scribbles, very, very light scribbles over the top of the tree. These branches here that you can see, these ones, are from my forest pansy, no less. Forest pansy. It has these beautiful little pink blossoms on the branches in the spring. So I'm looking forward to seeing those. Anyway, I'm going to move away from here and just talk to you for a minute, and then we'll sign off. Thank you so much for being part of today's lesson. Hello. Oh, sorry, I went off there for a moment. Thank you very much. Oh, that's been really good fun. Please post what you've done today on the page. That would be wonderful. I'm just stepping into the garden now, and I'm going to find Scout because she is starred in today's lesson. So let's see if I can find her for you to sort of say hello to her. Scout, oh, there she is. There she is. Here she is, look. Hello, Scout. Hello, shake a paw. Paw. Yep, she's tired now, you see. She's done all the barking. She's having a rest. Alright, well, thanks everybody. If you want to do it again, please let me know. And if you know of anyone who wants to join, get them to join as well. Au revoir.